When you are ready to buy a security appliance, how do you find the appliance that meets your requirements? You know your security requirement for firewall, IPS, and application control, and you also know your typical throughput. How do you size the appliance to meet your requirements and pick an appliance that will meet your current and future needs? Performance numbers are available in datasheets, but these are based on ideal testing conditions. The most reliable method is to test the appliance in a proof of concept. But how do you configure the appliance? What traffic mix will you use during the test? The Checkpoint Security Power Metric was developed in this part of the purchase process to ensure that you pick an appliance that meets the current and future needs based upon real-world requirements. The traffic blend used in security power testing is based upon research by the Checkpoint Performance Lab to ensure that it is a representative mix of real-world traffic. It consists of 68% HTTP, 13% SMTP, 10% HTTPS, and 9% other traffic like POP3, DNS, and Telnet. The test is done with a typical security policy with 100 rules, with logging enabled and network address translation enabled. The IPS profile is the profile recommended for the best security. We know the security power performance numbers for Checkpoint appliances, but can we find the same metric for other vendors? Let's test the Palo Alto 5050 appliance according to the datasheet numbers. Let's verify that we can recreate Palo Alto's published performance numbers to validate our test configuration. Here you see that the appliance is up to date and the security policy has one rule with any source, any destination, any application, and where the action is accept. Let's start the test and monitor the throughput. As the test completes, you can see that we are able to achieve throughput very close to the 10 gigabit per second as reported in the Palo Alto datasheet for the Palo Alto 5050 appliance. Now let's proceed to the second part of the test, where IPS, NAT, and logging are enabled, in addition to the application control, which is enabled by default, and switch to the security power blend. Here you see that NAT is enabled. Let's see the security policy rule configured with strict profile. Let's start the test and monitor the throughput. In this test, we are not getting anywhere near the datasheet numbers. We are actually getting much less than that. The performance in the real-world configuration with the real-world traffic blend is only around 1.2 gigabit per second. Let's check the Checkpoint 15600 appliance using the same security power test with the same real-world traffic blend, with IPS and application control activated and NAT and logging enabled. According to the 15600 datasheet, the firewall, application controls, and IPS real-world performance number is 5.2 gigabits per second. This is the security policy for the appliance. Here you see that IPS and application control are enabled and the recommended profile for best security. Here you see that there are 100 rules with logging enabled and that NAT is enabled. Let's start the test with real-world traffic blend. As the test runs, you can see that Checkpoint 15600 appliance achieves a little over 5.2 gigabits per second in the real-world testing configuration. When running a proof of concept test with the same parameters, we find that the Checkpoint 15600 appliance performs 5 times better than a comparable Palo Alto Networks appliance.